All right, good afternoon. Okay, I can see myself, I can hear myself on a little bit of delay on YouTube. Can y'all hear me, see my screen, etc., etc., yada, yada, yada for you Seinfeld fans? We're going to give everyone a minute to get here. We got about 20 seconds till the bell. We have so gosh darn much to discuss today. So, ladies and gentlemen, strap in. I like to give everyone about a minute after the bell to get in here because I know how crazy things can be. We have got a lot on tap to talk about. How's everyone doing? How'd everybody do today? Excellent. Okay. All right, guys. So we are almost 1 minute past. We'll give her. This is kind of a range bound trading. What the hell were you trading today? If you range bound, I mean, if you're talking about like 200-point ranges in the NQ, sure. What? Who the hell was range bound today? I mean, it's like saying, well, my one of my friends said, oh, they keep their dog in a fenced-in yard. The yard's an acre big, and it's a small dog. Reverse. Well, okay. Well, that's why we talk about the economy of language in our trading, right? I love this world. I love the everything about almost everything about it. But one of the things that annoys me to no end, especially as an educator, is the different uh, terms or different meanings to the exact same word, right? Like depending on what type of trader you go to, you can say the word volatility and it can mean like five different things, right? You can talk about them like today. The market, let's see, NQ finished just slightly up, right? So basically, if you're just looking at day over day change in the NQ and the ES, almost nothing, right? But sure as hell was a volatile day. CPI rate. Oh, okay, man. Whatever. I mean, hey. So we've got a lot to cover today here, guys. So on the schedule and on what we had talked about was the trading as a business, which we're going to get to. We talked a little bit about that last week too, and so I don't want to repeat myself too much, but I want to make sure that we are. Okay, so everybody should be making their way in here. Let me close Discord. I don't need that anymore. I will need the wheel o names later. So obviously, guys, let me talk. So let me tell you about the agenda today. So we're going to spend probably about 10 to 15 minutes talking about the market today. A few minutes on some general strategies for big days like this. I guess technically today was again range bound. If you want to talk about some of the biggest ranges I've seen in a couple of months, and we are going to talk about trading as a business. I got a few slides I want to get to. And then we have a giveaway. So Blue Sky, as always, is very kind to give away a free $25,000 evaluation account. So at some point in the next about 20 minutes, Josh will post the link to that in the chat and in the YouTube chat. And you sign up, and then we spin the wheel at the end. So I've had a couple people that have won those reach out to me for a little help. So for a couple housekeeping things to start with. First of all, big thank you to everyone who took my 5-day challenge. That was a kind of a free thing I put together at the end of July, and we had almost 200 people sign up across both here and my email list and all that. So and especially all of you that made it through all 5 days, which was more than I thought, but still a disappointing number, to be perfectly honest with you. Big congratulations to you. A big hello to the members of my Funded Traders Accelerator program. I think I've met with all of you individually now. We go live on Monday. I'm super excited to work with you guys and get y'all funded. And to the rest of you, hey, welcome as well. So if you don't know me, because I know we get a ton of new people in here every week because Blue Sky is amazing and they keep bringing in a large group to the Discord channel. My name is Matt Hensley. I'm the head of trading education here at Teresius Trading. Just sort of struck up a conversation with the Blue Sky guys one time. Josh and I get along very well, see eye to eye on a lot of education related things. And yeah, so I'm happy to be here and do a few events for them. They are, I had some clients ask me about various funded trader companies about a year ago. I started looking into them, and I'm an educator, so I'm always drawn to the ones that seem to provide the best education. And I can, I'll keep the exact contents private, but I can tell you, Josh and I have had hours of conversation on how best to educate traders. I've got a very unique perspective that he doesn't have, and he has a very unique perspective that I don't have when it comes to the hard data of traders and what they do. So it's great to have those conversations. Honestly, guys, that's the best compliment I can give them is they care whether you're winning or losing, because it's in their best interest for you to get funded and make a lot of money. So we've got a lot of things in the pipe, both me personally, guys, and some joint things coming over the next several months. Just stay tuned. But in the meantime, we're going to keep doing some of these Thursday events because they get good attendance, and hey, it's a nice thing to everyone to come to a free event once a week for about 45 minutes. So let's get into today, guys. Obviously, you can see my chart here. I want to focus on the candlestick specifically, guys. These are the days, quite frankly, I don't like to bring religion into trading, those two very different worlds, but we pray for days like today, guys. These days can make a trading day, a month, a year, whatever the case may be. And I don't post a lot, guys, in terms of like bragging about what I do or what I make, because I don't want people to be limited, right? If in theory I made $1,000 a day, I want my students to shoot for 2,000, right? There's nothing that makes me happier than I have a client come back to me a year or two later and they're making more money than I am, right? That doesn't happen often, but it has happened, right? And I'm very excited for those individuals. So I don't want to, again, especially on a public YouTube channel, I don't want to share too much, but I will just share I had the single best trading day of my career today. In terms of, real money. We've all made millions on the simulator, right? But I had just a fantastic day, and it's very rewarding because I'm in October this year will be my 10-year anniversary as a trader. That was when I made my first trade, and first year and a half was pretty painful. But it's when you get a couple years into this game, when you have days like this, you appreciate it more than you do even at the beginning, because you understand how much work went into it. And this, listen, you have the best day of your career. There's luck involved in it, right? There is some luck in this game, but at the same time, when you're able to put in the hours and the effort and just identify your setups. And gosh, guys, I would not have done what I did today early in my career, especially because I didn't let my winners run, right? Also, pardon me, I think the lighting is okay in here. I don't have my overhead lights on. I got a little bit of a headache today. And so if it looks like but if you can't see me very well, that's why. And if you can't see me, it's probably to your benefit anyway. But yeah, it was good. And again, that can't happen on days where the markets don't move. But thankfully, calendar year 2023, guys, especially in some of the commodities, especially the NQ, has been a great trading year. And so, again, yeah, whew, what a day. But anyway, how does a day like today come about, guys? And some of this stuff I saw in hindsight, some of this stuff I saw in real time and traded it, but I want to get I'm gonna put together. I don't think, guys, I'm gonna be able to get to this before I leave on vacation at the end of September. But I want to put together. This is week 4. This is 4 of 4 of our summer Blue Sky Summer Psychology series, right? I want to do a 3 or 4 week series on candlesticks. It's something I firmly believe in. Again, trader does not live by candlesticks alone, but they're one of the most powerful and consistent indicators I've used over many, many years. I know they're falling out of fashion right now. All I can tell you today, you can see this. This thing I like about TradingView, all your lines and everything carry over computer to computer and all that. A lot of places do that now, but not all of them. But I'd love to tell you I hit the top to the tick in this particular short. But I got in right on this. This was a just basically a liquidity-based trade. I got in on this, this candle here, and this was a gravestone doji, right? That's what this is. That's the name of that. And it rolled over from there. We go to VWAP. We have a break, retest, and go of VWAP. I mean, guys, these are near perfect patterns. So as a candlestick trader, as a VWAP trader, I had a couple of small wins on my RTT setup. 5 of 5 today for just again, I think it's very tacky for trading educators to brag about how much money they make, partially because there's a very famous name who I don't like to get sued, so I'm not going to say it out loud, who has literally been bragging about the same $1 million trade for 11 years now. Like, that's when he apparently made it. Well, if you had, that, first of all, in 11 years, that tells me you haven't made a bigger one, right? And it's an options guy, just to kind of spoil some of it, but. And that just tells me, honestly, guys, I hope I have a day. I had a great day today. I hope I have a day in the next 11 years that's better, right? So, pardon me. And plus the type of, I can tell you this from experience, the type of clients that come into an education program when you're bragging about nonstop returns are not the clients that are fun to work with, right? So yeah, that's a whole separate conversation. But honestly, other than a couple of times today, there was almost always a setup either active or going live. Now, I got pretty conservative is after lunch because I didn't want to give too much back. In fact, I only made one trade afternoon today. And you can see, obviously, once we got to about 11 o'clock here Central Time, still some. I mean, shoot, from the top of this down here, is still what about a 80-point move, a little more, but. Again, not as great. Still great action. Just if you just gave me this, we could work with it. But boy, I mean, the push up and the reversal was just absolutely beautiful. So my next statement's going to piss a lot of people off, and I've said it before on days like today. But it's not to piss you off. It's to illustrate how far some of us still need to go as traders. But if you didn't make money on a day like today, I don't know what to tell you, right? Again, I every setup that I had fired off at least once today. Doesn't mean I took every single trade. There were most of the setups that fired off didn't have a lot of pushback before they just went, right? And it's but don't get me wrong. Early in my career, I didn't make money or actively lost money on days like today. So all I can say is. Well, just, I guess after saying that, not many people fess up to being red, but so I won't ask you to put that in the chat. But if you blew out of eval today, if you were red on the day, or if you just didn't quite know what to make of the price action, that's okay. But it just shows you got a little ground to cover yet, and that's okay, guys. I'm 10 years into this, and I'm still learning. I hope I'm a much better trader here from now than I am today. I hope I'm just a much, much better trader 5 years ago than I am today. And the market's changed, guys. I can almost guarantee most of the setups that I use as we sit here on August 10th of 2023, I'm probably not going to be using in 5 years, right? Yeah, never stop learning. That's exactly it. That's a whole separate rant. But anyway, I do want to talk a little bit about how do we handle days like today, right? Now, experienced traders, and one of the things that's I'm working on personally, and this thing that I'm working on personally led to today, and how today went for me, is I have tried one of the last great things that you can do in your trading career to go from consistently making good money to consistently making a lot of money is understanding when you're getting an A+ setup and going heavier on position size. Now, I realize this is the antithesis of what we talk about a lot in here, right? 90% of you that I've talked to, either individually or in group sessions or whatever the case, if you're consistently blowing out evals or losing a lot of your real money, what's the very first thing I'm going to tell you? Reduce your position size, right? Somebody's coming at me with 3 or 4 minis that has been trading for less than a month. I'm going to tell them you need to go down to 2 or 3 micros, right? That is the position size, guys. I'm starting with a whole group of clients next week on it's my funded trader accelerator program. I'm not going to talk about it because registration is closed, but I've already talked to those individuals, and I already told them, I want you to start with 2 to 3 micros, right? Because if you make 2 or 3 bad trades in a row on 2 to 3 micros, yeah, it sucks. But if you manage them well, you shouldn't be down more than a few $100, right? 600-700 at the most, if not, 3 or 4. Whereas, especially if you start a 50K account, you only have a 2K drawdown on that on an eval, right? And you go 3 minis into something, and you sneeze and fall off your chair. By the time you get back in it, you could be your account's done, right? If it goes the opposite way. We always think about, and guys, I understand this, like, so I don't say this to make fun of anyone. I'm saying this because I experienced it. We, as new traders, as the eternal optimists as we are when we first get into this game, we are always considering how a trade goes in our favor and never considering how it goes against us, right? I got started in small caps, which I'd never recommend to anybody when you want to talk about a crazy world. All you need to know is most of the small cap educators and the people that the FTC or SEC ran out of the business are now involved in crypto. That's all you need to know about some of those guys. It's a shaky world, right? But anyway, I would always be thinking, wow, gosh, I'm in this, I'm buying, 2,500 shares of a $2 stock, thinking it's going to $2.50 or $3, right? Well, and then inevitably it goes down, 40% the next day or something, right? So we always frame these things in terms of our wins and never in our losses. Whereas, once you begun to get successful, you almost go the opposite, right? And this was another struggle that I personally had. Once I started to have some winning trades, it took me a good year plus to get in the habit of holding them, right? And it's that whole journey, which was a 3 to 4 year journey for me until I got to the point where it was, all right, I'm doing this, right? Not only am I, putting in the time and effort, I'm reaping the financial rewards of this, but it took that amount of time of learning these types of things to have a day like today, right? Spain accepted it. Okay, I don't want to get into crypto. That's an interesting world. If you've made money in it, good for you. But I know a lot of people that have lost a lot of money in it. Oh, okay. So, any questions on today, guys, in how to manage trades on a day like today? That for newer traders, guys, for inexperienced traders on a day like today, and it's going to be a day like today, right? We got the CPI number. Markets had moved the last couple of days, but fairly muted overall. So you knew there was going to be a blowout today, right? And we got it up and then we got it down. I don't have TOS open down here, but the 1 hour and 4 hour charts that I have set up on there on TNQ are just nuts, right? Conundrum of balancing taking profits and graduating to holds. Yeah, well, actually, that's one of the reasons. So this is something I'm going to have to take a hard look at over the So I like to scale out of trades, right? So if for example, I'm just gonna I have this up, so let's just. Okay, I have my paper trading active on this one. Good. So I can put orders in here and without affecting anything. Okay, so let's say, let's see, I need at least a couple. You know what? Let's go. Let's say I know this is minis, guys, but let's pretend these are micros. Okay, and let's say I get into a trade here. Okay, so I got my buy stop, and let's say then I put my stop loss. Oh, let's say 15 handles below, approximately, right? There we go. Okay, that's a tight stop, right? Ignore this. This was really be $300, right? Because I just don't want to pull up the micro chart right now. And let's say I set this up at 20 handles. And guys, I have different profit targets for different of my setups. So this is just a general. So this is a, 15 handles to make 20. But what I would typically do then is this would be my initial profit target. So actually what I would do is I'd set a 5er up here. And then I'd let the rest run, right? And today I was letting full position sizes run. So again, I don't want to spend a ton of time on that, but that was the big difference for me today, just because there was almost no chance to, especially in my first two trades, there was almost no chance to take that initial profit target. By the time I always set a stop first, and I set a physical stop, and I put it in there, and I stick to it. I do not let myself change that. And because the reason for that is, what if my internet blinks out or something? I want that order in, so that I don't have to spend, and that comes from some bad experiences of spending, time on the phone trying to get your broker. But like literally today, by the time I'd figured out where I want to put my stops, I'd entered the trade, then I put my stop on. By the time I got back to looking to where I wanted to take my profit, and doing the mental math and install it, like it had blown through there. So I'm all right. I mean, again, that's why I talk about days like today. There is an element of luck in how the price action moves. So yeah, whole position runs are incredible. So what platform do I use to trade? I use a platform called Edge Pro X, and you can route a Rhythmic fee right into that. So you can use that with your eval accounts if you choose Rhythmic. The platform fee is, I think, $32 a month. It might be $35 now. But I really like the platform, and I can't tell you it's right for you. I just like it because as an educator, it's got very good drawing tools, and it's got, I mean, most platforms have the Cloud Notes feature now, but I use Spot Gamma for a lot of levels in the ES, and they integrate directly with that for their Cloud Notes. So for $35 a month, I paid $35 a month for that, and I paid the $200 a year for the Trading View, the lowest, whatever the lowest level is for that, and then I can plug almost everything I need right into those. So you have to do everything on your phone. I don't know where to go with that. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's because you're trying to trade at work or any of that. Yeah. Honestly, Seth, let me be 100 with you here. I wouldn't be trying to. I mean, I'm not saying don't pay attention to the markets on your phone or play around or this or that, but even an eval account just on your phone is gonna be tough. Right. I think you're much better off having, if you're working full time right now, that's great, right? You're making money, so you're doing the things that you need to do. I think you'd almost be better off ignoring the day and going back on like one of the replay features that some of the platforms have, and then trading it at night. Set it to 3 times. You can trade the whole day in a couple of hours. And that speed will train you a little bit too. Yeah, I just, I haven't worked in anything in this for 10 years, but I can tell you right now, if I had to work full time, I don't know that I could trade during that. It's just difficult, man. It's just really difficult. But your question is a great segue into the topic that we talked a little bit about last week, but I want to get more into it. Okay. I'm going to say one thing here that I hope you get a lot from these events. I do so many of them in different topics because I know how I learn, right? Everything's going to speak differently to different people. You're going to hopefully you get a lot out of most of what I do, but everybody's going to have events they get more out of than other ones, right? I will tell you this though, the ones that you think you get the least out of are probably the ones you need to pay attention to, right? Like I could do a YouTube thing on my channel tomorrow. It says I'm giving away my top 3 strategies, right? And I promote it for a week. I'll have 10,000 people show up. But the odds are that 9,950 of those people don't need strategies. They need trading psychology. They need to learn position sizing, right? They need to learn how to view their trading the proper way. And that's the biggest thing, guys. So I use both Renkos and candlesticks, Alec. I use Renkos for one particular setup that I trade, but I always have candlesticks as a backup, right? But anyway, just let me say this. One of the biggest issues, the biggest roots of many of the problems that inexperienced traders have come from not viewing their trading correctly. Okay, let me elaborate. I'm sorry, I get a headache. I think my throat's a little dry. I'm probably coming down with something, but it's so many people, and I've said this in here before. Like on the whole, funded trader companies like Blue Sky are a blessing for traders, right? The barriers to entry to futures trading is almost non-existent now, right? I can't even, I don't want to. I'm too young to say back in my day, but when I started in this, getting a futures account, I mean, gosh, what a nightmare, and the fees were outrageous. Right now, if you have, well, I mean, You got to, depending on the sale you got $150 with Blue Sky. You've got you've got a platform license, you've got a data feed, you've got the ability to trade either in an eval account or sim. Oh my goodness, like that's incredible, guys. But one of the consequences of that is because it's so easy to get into, people don't always view it the right way. And I've always told people, your trading is not a hobby. It's not something you do. It is a career. And if you don't treat it like a career, you're not going to be successful. End of discussion. End of story. Okay? So what do I mean by that? And I want to get into, I've got just a couple slides. I hate to do death by PowerPoint to you guys, but I just want to get into just a couple slides. Okay. And I talked about this briefly last week, so I don't need to recap the whole thing. But if somebody came to you looking for an investment, let's say you had $25,000 extra dollars, somebody came to you and say, "Hey, I got an investment for that money." You're going to want to know what it is. You're going to want to know what's the business plan. You're going to want to say, "Hey, what's our SWOT analysis? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, all of that stuff, right?" You're going to want to know, what are you going to do with my money, and how is it eventually going to come back to me, twofold, threefold, tenfold, whatever the case may be. And so many people just go in without any sort of plan. So once you figured out what kind of trader you are, figured out and again, you can ignore capital. These are slides from several years ago before these these type of funded trader companies, prop firms, whatever you want to call them, were so prevalent. So what do you, again, guys, what are you as a trader? What's your trading time frame? Are you trading on an hourly or a 5-minute? We're all day traders in here, so I don't need to talk about swing trading or daily or weeklies, but what is your time frame? What strategies are you going to deploy? What is your plan to develop as a trader, guys? Like, if you just get into this saying, I'm going to pass my eval, get funded, and make a bunch of withdrawals, well, guys, I mean, statistically speaking, that's not going to happen, or not going to happen right away. So what is your edge beyond your strategies? When everyone says edge, they're always thinking strategies, right? Well, I need that one, this is how I was 10 years ago. I just need that one strategy. Like I was, I was the guy in the Chappelle show. You got any more of those strategies, man? That was me. And if a strategy didn't work for me, it was like, well, that strategy's crap. I just need to find the next one, right? So some of you are probably nodding your heads at your computer right now. Like, oh, this guy knows me. But what is your plan to continually develop as a trader? How are you going to manage your emotions? What is your trading going to look like in a year and in 5 years? Okay. One of my old pastors used to say, and he did some mentoring of like college students and stuff like that. And one of the things he always used to say was, when you ask, hey, so what are you going to be doing in 5 years, right? And you ask, of course, college kids, that's, you're planning your future. And he'd tell him, and he would look at him and say, okay, what does that look like? Okay. And what he means is, okay, so right now, guys, do a mental exercise. 5 years from now, and I'm not saying you're going to be a billionaire or anything, but 5 years from now, you've hit all your trading goals, right? You've made a ton of money, you've got some money in the bank, you paid off whatever debt you had. Okay. So you've done that. That's 5 years from now. It's 2028. Okay. What does that look like? Meaning now turn around and look at the path behind you, right? What things had to happen along the way, and what skills did you need to master? What lessons did you need to learn to put you in that position? And guys, this isn't something that's going to take 5 minutes. I encourage you to really kind of start thinking about this over the course of the next several weeks. And maybe we'll revisit it like October, November. Okay. So, guys, you need and this is why I was glad somebody just asked about the phone. You need an operations plan, just like any other business. What's your routine? What's your day-to-day routine? What's your week-to-week routine? What platform are you using? What tools are you using, right? Again, I have, I use, what do I use? I use TradingView as my main charting tool. I use Edge Pro X for a lot of the little extra features, and I just like their domes. I think their domes work the best. And I use Bookmap just for liquidity bands and to kind of see where some of the bigger orders are sitting at, right? So again, I know that I have, when I sit down and make my budget at the beginning of the year, I have a personal budget, I have a business budget, I have my education business budget. So I sit down in December, do all this for the coming year. So I take all my fees, right? So, and budget them out. And then I usually add probably about 20% on top of them, just in case there's something new that comes out, right? What tech are you using? Are you using a computer, a tablet, a mobile? Guys, I want to come back to the phone thing. I think that's just really tough, right? It may be your only option right now, or like you said, Uh, if you're day trading, guys, I used to tell swing traders you don't need 10 screens, right? You really don't. You really need if you're just if you're swing trading options, you really just need a really nice laptop screen or a laptop connected to a 24-inch 1080 monitor, right? You don't need. You can spend $600 on the whole setup, right? As a day trader, no, you kind of need the tools. You need a fast computer. You probably need. I've got 3 really big screens upstairs, right? When I first started, I had 6 screens. I had one of those like freaking arrays in front of me, right? And as monitors, as the 1440 and 4K monitors get a little cheaper, I've upgraded to those, and I have the same amount of space, and I don't need to, look like I'm trying to launch a space shuttle. But yeah, it's before I get too far off topic, what's your starting capital? Now, this plan, obviously this is something that's a big question for swing traders or people trading their own money. But guys, you still need a plan for this. I'm just going to be very, very, let me just be very real with you and very honest with you. The odds of you passing your eval on your first time are not good. Okay? That's just how it is. If you do, boy, more power to you. Now, if you have tons of experience, maybe you've traded futures on simulator, if you've been with other companies, now you're with Blue Sky, and you're okay. More experience, but I would say, somebody asked me this, hey, I'm just starting to trade futures. I've been learning for a few months, but I haven't made any trades yet. They were asking me, what company do you recommend? And I said, none of them right now, right? Until you get a little experience. But let's say you're ready to start your eval tomorrow. Okay, you've done some learning, you have some basic strategies, you have a trading journal. I would say budget 3 months and 4 to 5 resets. And that may sound, honestly, if you don't have that kind of money, wait till you do and trade and practice in the meantime on the sim, right? Again, that's just one man's opinion. Take it. I know some of you, it may break through, some of you ignore it. That's fine. So yeah, all right. Well, that's it for that, guys. I got a few more. Let's see. Let me catch up on the questions here. Ever tried doing interviews and podcasts with students on YouTube? I did that when I was working for TradeStation. They wanted me to do that. Honestly, it's hard to find people that are kind of willing to get out there on that. I do a few like video testimonials and stuff when I get. Hopefully, I have a few more in a few weeks when I get some people funded in this Funded Traders Accelerator program. But which, if it goes well, I'll open it back up in November. But yeah, I here's the thing. In this business, the loudest voices are usually not the most reliable. If that's the 2 people that I learned the most trading from, one was a woman who was my boss at TradeStation, Sarah Potter, and I learned from her for a few years. Just not as much strategies and stuff, but just general type stuff. And the other person is somebody who I actually am not allowed to name because they value their privacy very greatly, and that was the arrangements of being learning from this individual. And it was somebody I'd never heard of, and I promise you've probably never heard of, that has made more money than most of the people. Again, not a trillionaire, but made more money on their own than most of the people out there bragging about. Go on Twitter. Oh, I'm sorry. There's no Twitter anymore. Go on X or Stock Twits or whatever the case may be. And usually the loudest voices there, the ones talking about how much money they make every day. I'll be honest with you. I won't say any individual one is real or not, but I bet you 90% of them are full of you-know-what. And I don't think Josh put a mature filter on this YouTube channel, and I don't want to get them any strikes on their account, so I'm not going to curse. But that's just the long and short of it, right? And it's really, it makes it tough for you guys, right? For who do I learn from? Because a lot, and trust me, I can tell you this from experience. Sometimes it takes spending a little money with the wrong type of people to to learn what to look for in the right kind of people. Unfortunately, that's just you're literally talking about the game of money, and so it's always going to attract those type of people, right? But again, that's just a good rule of thumb, and it's like that in a lot of things, right? The loudest voices in the room are usually not the ones you want to listen to. No matter what walk of life you want to talk about, that's it, right? So yeah, hold on, let me make sure I've got. There we go. Get our charts back up here. Yeah, I don't know though. I've said this. I do the education part of this because I enjoy it. I'm a social guy. There's days I wonder if it's worth it, to be honest with you, when have to deal with a lot of the BS. But I really enjoyed there's very few in live conferences anymore. I used to love going to the Money Show and the Traders Expos pre-pandemic. Because those things were huge, and so many of them came to Chicago, and so it was very easy for me. And then I was working for TradeStation. They were flying us. Gosh, I was literally in California one weekend and New York the next. They were flying us all over the place doing these live events and conferences and workshops and all that. And just so much of that went digital in the during the quarantine, and it never really went back. There's a few, but not as many as I'd like. So yeah. All right, guys, so I want to open it up to just sort of any general questions here. I'll take questions for about 10, 15 minutes. I'm sorry, my throat's getting a little froggy, so I'm probably not going to make it all the way up to 4 o'clock today, or 5 o'clock Eastern. But like I said, I'll talk with Josh. We'll get some new. I'll get some one-off topics for the next few weeks, and then when I get back I'll be back from vacation. See, I leave the last week of September. I'm gone about 3 weeks. I'll still be kind of in and out. I'm not going to not trade for 3 weeks, but I just won't be as around or as accessible as I am now. But founded account, but a loose guy is I kind of talked about that. Yeah, like I said, guys, anytime we can have good conversations about learning, I'm always about that. But so we're coming to guys, this is, as I said, we've been doing 4 weeks of this summer psychology series. So let me just open this up to any trading psychology type questions, right? What hours would you recommend trading for a new trader? That's a good question. Let me just say this. If you're in the futures market, which we're all here, Josh has put the link in, guys, in the chat. Go in there. First of all, you got to like and subscribe to the channel, all right? And then sign in that page there. So you've got we'll say you got 15 minutes to do that. At 4:50 Eastern, Josh will lock that down, send me the names, and we will spin the wheel. But anyway, I would recommend... again, it depends on a lot of things, but let me give you the best advice I can give you. Stay away from the first half hour and the last half hour. And just because there's so much chaos there. I very rarely trade the first 30 minutes. So that should tell you pretty much all you need to know. Not that there's not some trades to be had. I just think it's kind of, it's not the most reliable patterns at that point. I mean, if somebody figures it out and finds an edge, good for them, right? Like, I'm not, there's probably somebody that makes a ton of money during that time. I just think there's a lot more random price action, right? Like, if you were late to get in on the move up at the open, right? You got in at the end, and then the thing just rocked. I mean, whew. Well, the NQ is too volatile, but as traders, we want volatility. We want movement. So it's not a matter, if you're saying the NQ is too volatile, I'm going to fire back at you. Your position size is too damn high, right? Like, again, if you're sitting there, oh man, I lose 1,000 on the NQ every day. Well, first of all, do you have a strategy that works? And second of all, what's your position size? Oh no, we want volatility. As traders, once you get it, without the volatility today, I wouldn't be sitting here, with a lot extra padding in the well, it's not in the bank account yet, but it will be by the end of the week. Usually I wait to take something out. I'm taking this out tomorrow. Guys, it's funny. You make a ton of money, in the markets, and like, if I had this type of success 10 years ago, I would have been thinking of all the stuff that I can buy. I'm sitting here at 41, like, man, I can pay my bills for like the next 8 months without moving any money around. Ugh, I'm getting boring. All right, so any psychology, if I could marry the NQ, I could. It used to be a toxic relationship, and now I get benefits. Well, you're not the first person to consider or to talk about trading in the markets like a significant other. But no, I mean, guys, the market is just, I know we have a tendency to anthropomorphize the markets, right? And I do it too. But the market's just a tool. It's just there. That we talked about last week, Mark Douglas, the great well, he's not a psychologist, but he's a trader who then studied psychology and the psychology of trading. The Disciplined Trader, guys, let me just say this. If you have not read The Disciplined Trader by Mark Douglas, and it's like a 250-page book, it's not long, you are doing yourself a disservice. It's the single best book on trading. He doesn't talk about a single strategy, which immediately people get turned off by, right? But it's the single best book. There's a lot of them, but that one is one of the single best books on trading that you could possibly read. I don't have some of the other ones down here right now, but he talks about the fact that we have no control over the markets, right? The markets are going to do what the markets are going to do. We don't, you and I aren't, in a $1 trillion fund that can, move the markets by virtue of our position sizing, right? We're not that person. So we have zero control over the markets. But you know what the flip side of that is? Markets have no control over us, right? I mean, we are only in a trade when we choose to be. We have to hit the button. The market doesn't do it for us. And that's a level of control that we're not used to having in our lives, right? Especially now with inflation, crazy over the last few years, the pandemic. I mean, the last 5 years have been, for 90% of this country, just really stressful, right? I don't care what your walk of life is or what your religion is or your politics are or anything like that. How many people in your lives do you know have less stress today than they did 5 years ago, right? And so that we're not used to having this level of control, and so it's very, very intimidating, and we act out because of it. What's the minimum capital to start trading live and risk? 1%. Well, hello. First of all, hello. That's a kind of a loaded question depending on what you're trading, how you're trading it. I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't advise you to do a specific amount or number. I can tell you what I do. Let me just speak like in my swing trading account. I don't typically risk. And I don't do a ton of swing trading anymore. I just, have my IRA and all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to risk more than about 3 to 5% on any given trade. And I trade pretty aggressively in that. But I only manage it 2 or 3 times a week. As far as futures trading, as far as trading live, pass an eval, right? And then you'll get some capital. So I think that's a question. It's interesting to see that question because I used to see something like that all the time. I don't get those questions anymore because of these types of accounts. And I've seen and heard whispers of people eventually going to do options and or stock funded trader accounts, right? So it's but futures. I think futures is where it's at for retail traders. I think it's the best. It's heavy risk, right? But it's heavy reward, and I think it's the best opportunity to make the type of money that we all get into this to make, right? I want to caution you all day about your trading and being careful and all that. And I always caution people on setting very smart and very attainable short-term goals. As far as long-term goals, man, dream it up, right? I mean, because those are the things that keep us motivated and keep us going. If your long-term goal is to buy a nice house, find a picture of your dream house, print it out, and put it on your desk. And that's what you're working towards every day. Some days it's gonna seem like that house is very close. Some days it's gonna feel like it's a long way away. But if you're the type of person that type of motivation and that type of discipline can help. Motivation doesn't get you trading, guys. Discipline gets you trading. But if motivation can be, a little spark every now and then to your discipline, that's always a good thing. What other book would be useful? Well, after you read Mark Douglas, actually, I have this one right here. You can see this. Trading Psychology 2.0 by Brent Steenbarger. Little more technical, so it gets a little more into because he's a psychologist who learned about trading, as opposed to Mark Douglas is a trader who learned about psychology, but Brent Steenbarger was a psychologist. He started working with traders, and now he's basically on retainer for some of the biggest traders in New York, and he trades a little himself. So that's a good one. Okay, I went to the first account I passed in 10 days and one losing trade. Now the rules are easier, and every account I'm doing worse. I guess this is where I'm supposed to, journal. Honestly, Mike, if you're that frustrated, take a day off. That's the best advice I can give you. Take a day, don't even worry about the markets. If you're that frustrated, you're doing worse and worse on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, give yourself a 4-day weekend. Take tomorrow and Monday off from trading, I know you'll be pissed off and frustrated, but just don't even think about it and sit. If you've passed an account, you've got at least some skills, maybe a little luck, but at least a few skills. So then just try to sit down and start fresh on Tuesday, and go back to your journal. Obviously I'm not, reach out to me via direct message if you want to schedule a coaching session. For people in Blue Sky, I always cut people a deal on that. But other than that, my guess is poor position sizing and over trading, right? I don't know what your average trade is per day. For me, I'm usually in the 3 to 5 range. Usually I'm 20 to 25 trades ish by the end of the week. So if you're somebody who's 30, 40 trades a day, I would look at that. You want a farm? Okay, print out a picture of a farm, stick it on your desk. Hey, your dream is your dream. Don't let anyone tell you it's not worth it. Spend less time in front of the screen and over trading. Okay, all right. Butter cows and chicken. Okay, well, hey, listen, that's like I said, we all have our dreams. We all have our ultimate trading goals. That's it. Mike trades in the room, in the Discord room every day. I know he's been sick. I know he hasn't been in every single day, but that's where he's at. So I will say this though, it's always great when you can learn from a trader when they're trading live, but don't depend on that for your trades, guys. Right? I can tell you as somebody who has subscribed to many trading rooms over my 10 years and has run many trading rooms over my 10 years, there's a bit, even the best traders in the world, there's a law of diminishing returns, right? Because as much as we just want to, because what do we want to do? We want to sit there and just do exactly what they do and sometimes you're dealing with a little lag. Sometimes, not many traders call out their entries, a minute before or this, so again, I'm not here to tell you Trader Bob or Trader Joe or Paul or whoever is, not a great trader. He's probably are, but to be a good trader, to really be a good trader means you're making your own trades. Doesn't mean you can't learn a ton from me or learn a ton from Mike or anybody like that. But your ultimate goal should not be to follow Matt's trades or follow Mike's trades. Your ultimate goal should be to making your own trades. Right, and sure, they can be based off of my systems or my setups or Mike's systems or Paul or by again. The name is irrelevant, right? But if you're just following somebody else's trades, you're not a trader. You're just a copy machine, right? And that can be fine for a little while, but it's and again, if you follow a trader and that's the only way you can make trades, and then that trader takes a vacation or is ill or something like that, well, then what? You're just not going to trade that day? So just make sure any room you're in or anything like that, you're learning. If you're making some money alongside them, great. That's a bonus. But learn first. Your first day in any new trading room should be like this. Shouldn't even have your hand on your keyboard or your mouse. Okay, it should be all about learning. Maybe here's another hack, guys. Next to every one of my mouse down here, because sometimes I do some live trading down here, or upstairs in my trading desk, pad of paper and a pen. One of the best trading hacks I can tell you, because you're going to see things all day that you want to make a note on or remember to put in your journal later. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes left to sign up for the raffle. Also, guys, starting next week, when we do these 25K giveaways, I'm going to be giving away coaching sessions alongside them too. I was doing that for a little while, and then I stopped doing it because I was working with other clients, and I've been doing onboarding with all my Funded Trader Accelerator Program clients this week, so I've been really swamped. But I'm going to get back to that next week, so we'll start doing basically 2 giveaways a week, which will be nice. So just one more reason to show up. As if my my just wonderful suave good looks is not reason enough. You missed my question above. I'm sorry. I stopped looking at the chart after the first hour, so I didn't overtrade and missed some good setups. What's the balance between overtrading and waiting for your setup? Good question. Sorry I missed that, and thank you for drawing my attention to it. So if you're an overtrader, I would set a daily profit goal, and I'm just going to throw numbers out there, so don't quote me. It's 500 versus losing 300. So if you hit minus 300 on the day you're done, you hit plus 500 on the day you're done. But that doesn't mean you stop trading. It just means you switch to the sim. So you're still getting the reps in, right? You're out there in a game, right? In a live baseball game, and you take a couple of at bats, game's over. You go in the tunnel and take some more swings, right? If you're consistently hitting your profit target, then raise it, right? And eventually you do away with profit targets and stop losses, because you don't want, if your profit target's $1,000 a day and you're hitting it every day, you may be costing yourself a $5,000 a day, right? So, but to start with, if I'm working with a client and they're over trading, that's the first thing I'm going to do. All right, what is a healthy profit factor and win percentage? 60% win rate, is that reasonable? Well, it's reasonable if it's making you money. How many? Give me, show me the stats on 100 trades of it or 200 trades, right? And if it's consistently making you money, and then that's okay. All my strategies, I want them to be between a 50 and 60% winning percentage, and I want to be at least 1.5 to 1 reward to risk. Sometimes I may bend those rules. I don't shatter them. Okay, well, there you go. So again, what's your, if your P&L after that? Now, again, 100 trades is still a small sample size. But yeah, I mean, if your P&L is solid after that, then just keep it going. Yeah, I mean, it's again, my general rule of thumb is 1.5 to 1. Sometimes 2 to 1 is great. I know some people do 3 to 1 and that's fine too. It's just, you're probably going to get less trade setups there. The smalls futures with uniform prices for small investors. I have no idea what that is. I'm sorry. I could be like some people in my business and just BS my way through it, but no, I don't have the slightest clue what that is. Or I should say I don't have the smallest clue. All right, guys, it is 3:50. So I will have the good Josh send over. It looks like he just did. Look at that. Gosh, this guy's amazing. So let me put these on my wheel o' names, and we will spin it. So guys, as I said, I'll get back to you next week on topics. Maybe I can pull Josh on for one of these. We'll do a little back and forth. We'll roast each other. Keep it PG, which I'm not sure either one of us is capable of, but we'll go with that. Okay. Wow, good turnout today. We've had great turnouts these 4 weeks, guys. I really appreciate that. Oh, here, I gotta close this out. All right. So we will spin the wheel o' names. So this is for a question about order flow. How big a difference do you see it making in your trading Bookmap? I would say for order flow, guys, and Bookmap, it helps keep me out of more trades than it puts me in, but that's just as valuable. If you have a tool that can keep you out of losing trades just as much, if not more, than a tool that can put you into winning trades, that's more than worth it for me. I could do an hour on Book, but Bookmap's not. It's a separate product. It's not part of this, so just reach out to them for more information. Okay. So this is for a $25,000 free $25,000 evaluation account with the Blue Sky Trading Company. If you win, Josh will reach out to you via either email or direct message and get you all set up there. So we thank Blue Sky for this event. Thanks for hosting me. And let's go ahead and spin the wheel. Ooh, Moroccan Technologies. You're always here, so I like to see you win. That's good. Good for you, sir. So we will reach out and get that all set up for you. All right. So I will take one more question since we're a little before the top of the hour and my voice hasn't gone yet. Any last questions? All right. Well, if there's no final questions, we will go on our way. So I will be back. I'll talk with Josh. We'll make sure we'll work out the time, technology, tech, all that kind of stuff for all of this favorite hobby outside of trading. Relaxing from my trading. No, I like traveling. That's why you got a pretty good vacation planned down Hilton Head in a few weeks. So yeah, honestly, that's like, I look at today and I'm like already over the high of the win, and I'm just like, man, like how soon can I break this? You just got to be careful, right? You can't do. This was a unique day, so we can't be chasing records every single day. So a trading buddy is help. Yeah, a trading buddy is very helpful. Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much. Thanks to Blue Sky for having me. I will be back with you next week, and we'll figure out our topic from there. If you have any topics, guys, feel free to reach out to me via direct message, and we'll put them in the queue. If you're interested in any, I don't have any like open enrollment programs right now because I just closed on the Funded Traders Accelerator program. But if you're interested in some a la carte coaching, you're more than welcome to reach out to me via direct message. I'm Trader Matt in my both in my Discord and the Blue Sky Discord. So other than that, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we will see you back here. Well, not here tomorrow, but back here next week. All right, guys.